This is session one, the basics of FX markets and 5-minute binary options. I know we have got so many new customers in Nadex markets. And interestingly enough, probably the biggest product that they're looking for, the reason a lot of people come to Nadex is specifically for our 5-minute binary options. So we are going to be covering that right out of the gates. All right, before I start my session, you will see this slide several times today. I promise you, it is a disclaimer. We need to share this disclaimer, and this day, as well as this session, are sponsored by the Nadex Compliance Department. I do need to share that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this session, as well as the entire day, it's a day of education. Please don't construe anything I say or anyone else says today as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. And it becomes abundantly more clear when I do a little bit of off-roading, is what I like to call it, when I jump over to the Nadex platform and actually start showing you some things. They're not trade recommendations. It's all for your education. All right, so what are we going to cover in this session today? I do need to start off with who is Nadex. We have had thousands and thousands of new customers coming into the Nadex markets. And I think it's important that everyone gets just a couple of brief minutes quickly on who Nadex is, why are you here, and what is it that Nadex offers you, the retail trader. I am then going to go over some very basics of FX. What is it? And we get these questions a lot, and we wanted to start off to make sure that we're all speaking the same language and that everyone is on the same page with some of the basics. Then we're going to talk about binary options. This is what people come for. I want to talk about binary options. We're going to talk about what is a binary option and how do they work. All right, we're going to talk about the risk reward of binary options, and then we're going to understand how the price of binary options can change. All right, we're going to discuss that too. And so you really understand binary options. We do offer a variety of choices, but I am going to focus on the 5-minute binary options that Nadex offers in the FX space. And then I am going to do a practical demonstration. So I wanted just to sort of tee up what we're going to discuss now. And again, just for anyone who's kind of coming in late, we're recording this. The recordings will be made available to you. If you would like any of the slide decks, email customer service at Nadex. And I will tell you, this is an interactive session. You can type questions into that question box, all right, throughout the day. We are going to do our best to answer all the questions. If for some reason we do not get to your question, I promise you someone will follow up directly with you. So we will reach out to everyone who asks a question. So this is interactive. And the truth is, if you have a question, there's a high likelihood someone else has a question, and I will do best efforts to answer them throughout the day. And I've got a crew of folks in the background helping as well. So a shout out to the Nadex team in the background, to Marcus and to Nelson, who will be helping out throughout the day, answering questions. So let's start off with who is Nadex. Now, in the financial services industry, we love our acronyms. Nadex is simply an acronym for North American Derivatives Exchange. Now, what is North American Derivatives Exchange? It is a regulated exchange, and that is really important when we talk about binary options. We are regulated by another acronym, the CFTC. The CFTC is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Nadex is regulated in the United States by the Commodity Future Trading Commission. It is the same regulator, the CFTC, where very large exchanges like the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they are regulated by the CFTC. The Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, who owns the New York Stock Exchange, they are also regulated by the CFTC. Now, the reason I highlight that is in the binary option space, there are only a couple of exchanges that have a license to operate regulated in the United States. And Nadex is the premier one. In fact, I'm going to go with nearly 100% of the volume of regulated binary options in the United States is on Nadex. There's one exchange that hasn't even started trading yet. There's a small one that offers weather contracts that I don't even know if they might trade a couple of them a day, if that. Now, there are other binary option providers in the world. You can access them if you go on the internet. You're not supposed to be able to access them legally from the United States, but you can certainly do so. You can do a lot of things on the internet. And if you're dealing with an offshore provider, my advice to you would be caveat emptor, buyer beware. The reason I say that is if you had any challenges, problems, issues, and you wanted some type of recourse, good luck to you. They're offshore and they can do whatever they want. In the United States, Nadex is regulated. We have to adhere to all rules, regulations of the United States, and we are audited and by a regulator, and we have to report into that regulator. So when you hear about nefarious behavior happening at binary options exchange, for instance, people not being able to remove their funds once they put in an account, that is not true at Nadex. Simply not true. We are regulated. Offshore exchange, I can't attest to any of their behavior. So we are the premier binary options exchange in the United States that is regulated. In fact, we're the premier binary options exchange in the United States because the other ones you're not even supposed to be able to access. Now, what do we offer? Nadex offers contracts designed specifically for the retail trader. Now, what does that mean, a retail trader? We design contracts with a very low cost of entry and with defined risk. Now, when I say low cost of entry, you do not need thousands of dollars to get into Nadex markets. You can do so with very small quantities of money, tens, hundreds, if not tens of dollars. Our products are designed for retail traders. I know that that's actually becoming more popular now. Nadex was already in the space. We've been doing this for well over a decade. The other thing is defined risk. There are no surprises. At Nadex, it doesn't matter what kind of contract you trade, whether you're trading binary options, and we'll talk about knockouts and call spreads later. People who are looking for short-term price action in the markets and binary options, and we've got, when I say short-term, we're talking 5 minutes. We've got some contracts that are 20 minutes. Every 2 hours, we have different daily binary options and weekly binary options. You can choose the duration that suits you best, but every one of our contracts, it doesn't matter what it is, has defined risk. You know exactly what you're getting into before you enter a trade. You know what you could potentially make, you know what you could potentially lose, which means there are no surprises. And when I say there's no surprises, it also means you're not going to have things like a margin call, or you can't lose more than what's in your account, where you've heard horror stories of people, retail traders, getting into a market and losing way more that's in their account, way more than they can afford. And that's because other markets, it doesn't matter what is, they've got unlimited amounts of risk. At Nadex, we designed contracts specifically for retail traders with defined risk, so there are no surprises. All right, enough about Nadex. Oh, by the way, actually one more thing about Nadex. I want to just kind of toss this out there. If you are brand new to Nadex, and again, we've got thousands and thousands and thousands, they're not aware of this, so I like to put this in there. If you open a live account, all right, and you invite your friends and everyone gets their own personal little link, if you in your live account, it would be, you would get it in your live account. You could send it to your friends and refer them. If they join Nadex using that link and they place 5 trades within 30 days of applying for their Nadex account, we'll give them $100 and we'll give you $100. And a lot of people, particularly retail traders, like to trade together with their friends. And if you invited up to 10 friends and 10 friends came in, you can end up with $1,000 of trading capital in your account, in your Nadex account, and your friends would each get $100 themselves, and they can go invite some of their other friends. So it's a nice program we've got going at Nadex. It's called the Refer a Friend program. I wanted to put it out there quickly. Now, enough about Nadex. Let's get into FX. What is FX? And I know this may sound very, very basic, but we have got literally thousands of brand new traders in the markets, and we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable as we start talking about some of these concepts. Now, FX, it is, again, an acronym. It's short for foreign exchange. You'll also hear it referred to forex or the currency market. Okay, so when someone says FX, we're not talking about special effects like in movies. We're talking about foreign exchange. All right, and interestingly enough, the FX market, the foreign exchange market, is the largest market in the world, and it's not even close. You know, it's interesting in the United States, we don't think about foreign exchange. A lot of Americans, the only time they think about foreign exchange is that they're going to be going to down to Mexico for vacation. And then they think, well, you know, what's the cost of a Mexican peso to the US dollar? And it's the first time it really dawns on them. The FX market is the largest market in the world. It's over $6.5 trillion. Yes, trillion with a T, dollars a day, every day. It is the world's largest market. It is absolutely huge. And what is that? It is the exchange rate at which a currency pair can be bought or sold. Now, when we talk about foreign exchange, FX, and we're mentioning currency pairs, FX always trade in pairs, okay? And what you're doing when you actually trade FX is, if you're in the spot market, you're actually doing two trades at once. You are buying one currency with another. So you're essentially buying one and selling the other. And now I'm going to go through a simple example, okay? And this happens to be the largest currency pair, the largest forex pair that is traded. It's the euro US dollar. Now, when you quote currencies and you talk about currencies, the first currency, the one that's in the first position, is called the base currency. And the one that's in the second position is called the quote currency. All right. And, you know, you can call it the base currency and the quote currency, or you could simply say the first position or the second position. And there are standard conventions on how currencies are quoted, and they are just conventions. So FX is the price that you can buy the first currency in terms of the second. So when you look at a euro US dollar, what you're really asking is how many US dollars does it take to buy 1 euro? Now, the standard convention for the euro US dollar, and I believe this is about where it is right now, it's around 1.20. What we're saying is, if you wanted to buy 1 euro, it would cost you $1.20. So it would take $1.20 to buy 1 euro. Now, the question then is, well, how many euros does it take to buy 1 US dollar? Now, I can flip that over. It's simply a math equation. You could just turn them over and the math equation over. And if you did the math, it would take 83 cents to buy 1 US dollar. That is not, it does not trade as euro US dollar. The euro dollar trades as the euro US dollar, and each currency pair, sometimes the dollar is in the first position and sometimes the US dollar is in the second position. It all depends on the currency, and they are simply standard conventions that everyone uses. But it's a simple math to turn it around the other way if your question were a little different. But when you're trading, we have to use the standard conventions that everyone uses. Now, this is something else, and I think this is actually really helps when you want to understand it, is when you look at a chart. Okay, when you look at a chart and you see a chart of a currency pair rising, when you see the price rising, it is the strength in the first currency. So if we saw the euro US dollar and the chart were going up from the left to the right, it means the euro was getting stronger against the US dollar. That would mean also that the US dollar is weakening against the euro. So if you look at a chart, if the euro US dollar, if it's going up, the euro is getting stronger and the US dollar is getting weaker. If the chart were going down, it would be the exact opposite. If the chart were going down, it would be the currency in the very first position, the euro, is getting weaker, and the US dollar, the one in the second position, is getting stronger. So when you see dollar strength against the euro, the chart itself will actually be going down. And so you've got to understand just those basic terms. When you're looking at a currency pair and you're looking at a chart, when people talk about which currency is getting stronger and which currency is getting weaker, it all depends on which position they are in the quoted pair. All right, that is the basics of FX. It is a massive market, the world's largest market, over 6.5. I think it's on its way towards $7 trillion every single day. It's an exchange rate, and there's some different terms that you need to, I mean, they're all the same: foreign exchange, forex, FX, currency market. And it's simply the exchange rate. What can you buy one currency with in terms of the other? Now let's talk about trading FX, and we're going to talk about trading it with binary options. Now I'm going to start off with a definition. It's what is a binary option? And again, this is where people come to Nadex and they want that action. They want that short-term price action, and the 5-minute binary options certainly provide that. So what is a binary option? And it is a short-term contract. Now, again, I mentioned that at Nadex, everything has defined risk. It also has defined reward. So it is a short-term defined risk, defined reward contract that has 3 components. It's a prediction. It's a question. All right. First, there's an underlying market. That's component number 1. And we're going to use, while we've got binary options for equity indices, for commodities like gold and oil, we've got binary options for FX pairs, for foreign exchange. And we're going to talk about the euro US dollar. I think I might use other currency pairs in some of my other examples. I can't recall what I put in the presentation, but let's just use the euro US dollar. That's the underlying market. Then there's going to be a condition. Right? And that condition is also called the strike price or the level. And it's always comes in the form of a question, the condition: will it be higher than? And it'll give you a price. So if we know let's just use one spot 20. Will the euro US dollar be greater than one spot 20? And then there's going to be an expiration time. And we're talking about 5-minute binary options. It would be in the next 5 minutes. So that is a binary option. Will the euro US dollar, the underlying market, be greater than one spot 20, the condition, at expiration in the next 5 minutes, or in the next 2 hours, or at some daily expiration points, or at the end of the week? There are a variety of expirations. You can choose from them. We will also give you a variety of conditions, but let's just keep moving along. Interestingly enough, and this is something that differentiates Nadex from other binary option providers, you can both buy or sell them. And it doesn't matter whether you're buying or selling them. The risk and the reward are both defined known quantities before you enter the trade, and they are both capped, and they are calculated for you, so you don't have to do the math. So that is a binary option, right? And it will trade, a binary option will trade between 0 and 100. So you've got a short-term defined risk reward contract. It's a statement or a prediction. Will the euro US dollar be greater than one spot 20 in the next 5 minutes? You can buy it or you can sell it, and I will go through that. You would buy it if you think the condition is going to be true. You would sell it if you think the condition is going to be false. We're going to discuss that in a second. And it trades between 0 and 100. Now, I just mentioned it's a true or false prediction. So either the event is going to happen or it's not. The euro US dollar will either settle greater than one spot 20 in the next 5 minutes or it won't. That is why it's binary. In the end, it's either true or false. And if it's true, it goes to 100. And if it's false, it goes to 0. All right. That is why it's called a binary option. There are only 2 choices. Either it happens or it doesn't happen. Now, what is that 0? the price between 0 and 100. And you can think of that as roughly reflecting the probability that the event will be true at that moment in time. The market, the market is made up of everyone who wants to trade. There's people who want to buy this because they think it's going to be true. There's people who are going to sell this because they think it's going to be false. And the market comes together and there's a two-sided market, and that is going now, and let's just use this as an example, if the euro US dollar were trading right at 1.20 or very close to it, and it was, will the euro be greater than 1.20 in the next 5 minutes? At that moment in time, there's going to be roughly a 50-50 chance that it will be true or false, because it could go up and settle higher, or it could go down and settle lower. At that point, since there's a 50% chance it'll be true, the binary option will be trading around 50. If the question is, will the euro be greater than 1.20, and it's currently trading at 1.25, it's already above that level. It's already higher. It's already what you would call in the money. So it's already looking like it's going to be true. The probability of it staying true is probably going to be higher than 50. It might be 75, at which point the market is saying there's a 75% chance that it will stay and settle above 1.20. And if it's true, it settles at 100. And if it's false, if it drops below and settles below, it goes all the way down to 0. Now, and it would be the other way around if it were currently trading below 1.20. All right, let's say it's trading 1.15. Will it settle higher than 1.20? Well, it's out of the money. It's got to get up to 1.20 just to get to be even. So it might be trading at 25%. It might be saying, hey, at this moment in time, there's only a 25% chance that it will get up and above 1.20 and settle there. And in the end, it's where it settles. And when it settles, it goes to 0 or 100. And if you trade other options, I like to just mention this: timed expiration and volatility do get accounted for in the price. We're going to discuss that a little bit more in a bit. Now, something else that Nadex did that's pretty cool, we're going to talk about the risk reward, is while it trades between 0 and 100, and it's the probability that it will potentially be true, it's also the value of a contract. At Nadex, our binary options have a maximum value of $100. So it's also the dollars that you're trading. We make that easy for you to understand. So I'm just going to put this up here and you can look at these. But essentially what this is saying is, if you bought a binary option for 25, at that moment in time, the market is telling you there's only a 25% chance it will settle true. Now that's a 25, that means 1 in 4 times, in statistically speaking, it should settle above the strike price. If you bought it at 25, there's a 25% probability that it will be true. And it's going to cost you $25. Now, you're risking $25. If it becomes true, it goes to $100. So you'd be risking $25 to potentially make $75. Right? You're getting 3 to 1 on your money. It's risking 25, and if it becomes true, it settles above that strike price, and it doesn't matter how far above it settles. It just has to be 1 penny more than the strike price. It will settle at 100. It'll go to $100. You will have risked 20. It will have gone to 100. You will have made 75. If you buy something at 25 and it goes to 0, well, you risked 25. It went to 0. And when you do a trade, your collateral that you put up initially is the maximum risk that you have putting in the trade. And as I mentioned, you can buy or sell these, unlike other binary option providers where they might not allow you to sell them. So let's use that 50-50 probability again. If the US dollar is trading right at 1.20, and the question is, in the binary options, will it be greater than 1.20? If you think it's true, you can buy it at 50, and you're hoping that it will settle at 100. You risk 50, it goes to 100. You're getting even money. All right, you risk 50 to potentially make 50. Now, you can go the other way. You can think, no, it's not going to settle greater than 1.20. I think it's going lower. I think the euro US, I think the euro is going to get weaker. I think the dollar is going to get stronger, and it's going to settle at 1.20 or below, in which case it goes to zero. I can sell it at 50. And my hope is that it goes to zero and I would make $50. Now, if I'm wrong, if I sell it at 50 and it's true and it goes to 100, I would have risked 50, it went to 100. I can't lose any more than that. I would risk 50, I could potentially lose 50 if it went to 100. That is a binary option, and we're going to go through some examples. Now, on an order ticket, you do not need to do any of that math. Here is an order ticket for the pound yen. Okay, and on an order ticket, you're going to see an indicative price up in the upper left-hand corner. All right, we see that the pound yen foreign exchange rate's 154 spot 90. So that's how many yen it would take to buy 1 pound. It'll give you the condition. Will the pound yen finish higher than 154 spot 91? So we notice it's currently just below that. It's just below. And notice also that it's in the next 3 minutes. In the next 3 minutes. And it is currently just below that. So it's currently trading just below 50. In fact, if you look at the midpoint, it's around 42. They're saying there's a 42% chance right now that it will finish higher than 154 spot 91. Now, on the order ticket, you're going to have a price where you can sell. You can sell the bid or you can buy the offer. Now, do you have to trade on those prices? And the answer is no. You can put an order between the bid-ask spread. Something also that is very, very different at Nadex than other binary option providers is we have a central limit order book. We have an open central limit order book. Anyone can place a bid. Anyone can place an offer. You can place an offer between the bid-ask spread or higher. You can place a bid between the bid-ask spread or lower. You can see the market depth on who's bid lower and who's offering higher. If you notice, there's even a number, how many, the quantity, that's the quantity in the upper corner of the ticket. There's 20 of these bid for and 20 of these offered. So you can use a limit order. So if I thought, no, this is not going to finish higher than 154 spot 91, I think it's going to go lower or it's going to stay below it, I could sell one. And let's say I wanted to try to sell one at 40. Now, am I guaranteed to fill? No. No one may want to buy it from me at 40, but I am allowed to put my offer in there. I will demonstrate that. If I sold one at 40, all right, and we got your quantity on here. If I sold one at 40 and I got filled, I would know, well, I sold it. I'm saying I don't think it's going to finish higher. It's going to either finish at or lower. And I'm looking for it to go to zero. If I sold it at 40, that's the most I can make. And if it went to 100, I would lose 60. All right, we calculate that for you on the order ticket. You know beforehand what you could potentially make and what you could potentially lose. All right, so that's the order ticket. Now I want to talk about how the price moves in line with moves in the market and volatility. So I'm going to quickly go through an example. All right, and I've already mentioned that the price can be thought of as the probability of an event occurring. Now the price does not have to move exactly in line with the underlying. All right, the underlying can move up and the price can go down, and I will explain that in a second. And that is because there are two very important things that can impact the performance of a binary option, the price of a binary option, and that is time to expiration and volatility. So let's walk through an example. All right, I'm going to do one example here, and then I'm going to cover a couple of very, very important things, and then we'll go over to the platform. Here's an example. Will the euro US dollar finish greater than 1.20 at 3 p.m.? Now, 3 p.m. could be in 5 minutes. It could be in 2 hours. It could be at the end of the day. All right, the time frames. And I will tell you, in the short 5-minute binary options, these volatility moves can be very dramatic and very large. Now, here's a chart of what the euro US dollar was doing. And there's that 1.20 level. And I'm just going to quickly walk through how the price of the binary option will change or could change early in this period. And again, this could be the beginning of a 5-minute window, very beginning of a 5-minute window. It's already above, right? It's already trading higher than 1 spot 20, and the market was pricing it right between the bid-ask spread, 56% probability, right in the middle, that it's going to finish above. Now, what happened? It moved lower, and the price of the binary option also went lower, right? It went down to a 44. There's still time to go. There's still some time, but now we're below that 1 spot 20 level. Now we skip ahead and we start getting closer to that settlement time, that expiration time. We are below 1 spot 20. Time has decayed away, and the probability has decayed down to 36%. Now it made it moved above. Now it's back roughly where it was earlier in the day, and the volatility, now it's at 74. All right, now there's a high probability. The market's giving it a 74% chance, and then it dropped lower, and the probability went way lower. Now, at this point in time, if it stays at 1 spot 20 or below, it will go to 0. Anywhere, it settles anywhere above 1 spot 20, it would go to 100. You can see how this moves around and how the probabilities of it finishing in the money change as time goes on and as volatility moves around. We are going to look at a 5-minute binary option example, and we're going to watch it in action, and you'll get a chance to look at this. But I wanted to walk you through it on what you might expect to see. Now, at Nadex, this is also something that differentiates us from other binary option providers is we offer you multiple underlying markets. We also offer you multiple time frames. Now, we're going to look specifically at examples of 5-minute binaries, but we've got other settlement time frames, and we offer you a variety of strike prices. So you can choose which, hey, I want to trade out of the money ones. I want to trade in the money ones. You might even have a strategy that mixes some of these. You can absolutely do that, and people do build strategies around that. Now, in our 5-minute binary option, I'm just going to show you from our platform. Now, this is 5 minutes. You can see that there's 5 minutes to go. We have multiple currency pairs, okay? Aussie US dollar, Euro US dollar, Euro yen, Japanese yen. And you'll see the indicative price of each one of these. And then inside each one, so here's the pound US dollar, we are going to offer you different conditions and the probabilities of any one of these being true. All right, I could see that currently the pound US dollar was trading at 1 spot 40.98. And the question was, would it be greater than 1 spot 40.99? It's currently below here. There must be very little time left. They're giving it only a 23% probability. Maybe there was only a minute to go. And that's why this was such a low probability. But this probability, if it started ticking higher, this probability would move very quickly from 23 up to 100 if the pound US dollar started ticking higher. All right, and we're going to walk through an example. Now, if you take nothing away from this presentation, I'm doing an alert. Pay attention. This is really important. An important rule when trading binary options. All right, and this is true even of knockouts and call spreads. I will cover that later. And this is true for pretty much anything that you trade when it's options related. Just because there's an expiration associated with the contract does not mean you have to wait until expiration to see what happens. I'm going to say that again. Just because there's an expiration does not mean you have to wait until then to see what happens. You can absolutely exit your binary option trade at Nadex early. Now, why would you want to close a position early? Why would you want to close a position early? You would do it to exit that position for 2 reasons. 1, to lock in a profit, or 2, to minimize a loss. And this is a strategy, some people, because they don't want to put up a lot of capital, they might buy a binary option that's trading 25. There's only a 25% chance that it's going to finish in the money, but they think the price is going to go higher. And if it just goes to at the money, we know that if it's right at the money, it's going to be trading around 50. It's a 50 probability. They might just buy a 25 because that's the most they can lose. And if it goes to at the money, they're willing to sell it at 50 and get out of the trade, and they will risk 25. Yes, they could potentially make 75, and they might want to hold on to that position because they think it's going to go to 100. But if it just went to even money, they'd be happy buying it at 25, selling it at 50, and making a $25 profit and moving on to the next trade. And if you recall that little chart that I showed you of how the price of that binary option fluctuates, in that little period of time, you could have bought and sold multiple times and made money if you were actively trading it to lock in profits. And again, you also might want to limit losses. If you bought a binary option, say, I bought one at 60. I thought it was going to go to 100. That was my play. I was risking 60. I wanted to make 40, but it went down and now it's trading at a 25 or 30 probability. I was wrong. Do I have to lose all 60? And the answer is no. If you bought it at 60 and it went against you and you said, oops, I made a mistake, you could sell it back out at 30 and cut your losses. And you risked 60, you sold it at 30, you lost $30, but that's better than losing all 60 because it didn't do what you thought it was going to do. So you absolutely can trade out of your position early. All right. You know what? I didn't want to do that quite yet. That is the presentation. I want to remind everyone, again, we're recording all of this. You'll get an email on where the recordings are located. If you want any of the slide decks from today, email customerservice@nadex.com for the slide decks. Keep pounding your questions. I mean, I see questions coming in fast and furious. And if we don't answer your question, I promise you someone will follow up with everyone who has a question. Now, I am going to switch over to the Nadex platform and do a little bit of off-roading, okay? And I want to show you, and I want to go through an example, and I want you to see how I can place orders between the bid-ask spread and away from the market, and even how you can close a position early. There's all sorts of fun things. I am going to do this with binary options. All right, we'll talk about call spreads and knockouts later. I am going to stick with forex, the forex markets. Now, inside our forex markets, you'll notice, let's refresh that because we had some markets that expired. We've got them every couple hours or every, there's these windows daily and weekly, but we wanted to look, and there's always how much time is left, and you can choose the currency pair, the time that works for you. Inside each one of these, there's going to be a variety of strike price levels. I am going to go back. This is where you find the very short term, the 5-minute binary options. Nadex 5-minute binary options, they're all in FX. So we got 3 minutes here for this particular one. Let's go ahead and jump in quickly. I want to make this a 1-minute chart because we're doing such a short time frame, right? And you can see all the strikes. All right, let's bring this in a little bit closer. All right, look at this. All right, there we go. We've still got 3 minutes to go. I think this is going to keep going higher. You know what? Maybe I want to buy one of these. I'm going to buy one for 7.5 just to see what happens. I might have bought it. I could look at what I bought one of these just for fun, All right, now look at this probability. All right, we're looking here. There's still 2.5 minutes to go. It's pretty high above. It's giving it a 70% probability. Maybe I think it's going to drop. All right, maybe I want to sell one of these at 68. All right, I just put an order to sell one at 68, and look, wow, I traded that already. They bought it. I wanted you to see my order go into the order book. Let's try again. It moves so quickly. I'm going to sell one at 70. Wow. You know what? I don't know if did I sell one? Nope, my order is above. There was my 70. It just traded. If you notice, I've actually now sold 2 of these. All right, I sold one, and now what's going to happen here? Maybe I would buy it back a little bit lower. Okay, maybe I'd buy it back if it dropped down to 40, and it could drop down to 40. I'm going to place an order to buy one at 40 below. Now, I placed my order. You can see that I'm trying to buy one at 40, and it's currently trading at 65. I don't know, am I going to buy that or not? I don't know. I did sell 2 of these, but we still have a minute and a half to go. It looks like the one I bought up here is going to go to 0. All right, and we're going to sit here and wait for a minute and 20 seconds. And this will either go to 100, and we're watching it tick higher, and as it ticks higher, all right, these starts going closer and closer, and there it goes. It's going the other way. Now, it looks like I was wrong. There's going to be, in the next minute, the market is not predicting that this is going to drop. Now, remember, I did buy one of these at 7. Maybe if it's going to punch higher, maybe I can sell one of these. If it goes higher, maybe I can sell one up at 27. I can offer it. I'm going to offer one up there. If it were to spike all of a sudden, well, looks like I'm not doing anything right now. And again, this is how it can work. Again, no trading recommendations. I'm just showing you how you can place orders away from the market, between the market. If I want to close a position, I actually have a little close button. It would close it as a market order. So if I can close it, and oh, there's my offer up above. No one, wow. Can I close that one right now? I'm going to try. Oh, there was a bid in there. I was going to try to close it. Somebody already sold it at 6. There was a bid in there for a second. Now, what you noticed is the market sort of went blank in the last 20 seconds. And the reason that happens is no one wants to trade in those last 20 seconds. Now, I am going to go back over here to our 5-minute binary options, and I'm going to refresh. And we've got a whole new set of binary options, a whole new set of probabilities. Now, my positions are gone. If you noticed, the one I bought went to 0. The ones I sold went to 100. I didn't do so well on those trades. But we've got another 5-minute window, and it's another, it's another opportunity. Let's stretch this out some. I'm going to shrink this down so we can really see this chart. I want to expand this again. Let's bring this in a little bit. And we've got a new set of probabilities, and you can watch. All right, right now it's below the one spot 1907. All right, now if I think it's going to punch higher, let's just put a bid in below. I'm going to put in a bid at 32, 33. I could put one in there. Well, it's already punching higher. Nothing wants to kind of work my, looks like I've got an order in there. I'm below. Let's cancel that order. Let's modify it. I'm actually going to amend the order. I'm going to go to 44. Let's go to 45. I just amended the order. Now, I just changed it to 45, and I actually got filled at 45. So I bought one at 45. And let's just hang out here for a second, and we'll just sort of see. Again, notice this one up here, they're calling it a very low probability. This one, it appears the market's saying that it's going to stay. I bought one at 45 again. Now, if I'm wrong and it starts going down and I just want to get out, I just want to close it, say, whoops, I made a mistake. I can send a market order. I just closed the position. I took a partial loss. And as you notice, hey, thankfully I did, because it continued to drop. So you can close a position early. I took my lumps on this one and didn't experience a full loss because it started dropping and I wasn't comfortable with it anymore. I could sit here and wait. We've got another 2.5 minutes, and you can watch. Let's move this down again. How the binary options will change. The probabilities will change. Now, if I do have an order in there, let's just say I wanted to sell one of these. Let's put one way above the market. I'd sell it at 67. Actually, this is 70. I'd want to sell one at 70. Okay, I've got an order to sell one at 70. It's way above the market, and I just want to cancel the order. I click on it. I can delete the order. That order's gone. All right, I didn't do anything. So you can place your orders in between the bid-ask spread. You can put bids below. You can put offers above. I can close a position early by hitting the close button, and or I can try to get out for a partial profit. If I've got an order working, I can amend it or I can delete it. So you have a lot of control over how you want to handle your orders with the 5-minute binary options. I know that was very fast. I know these markets move very quickly. Usually I would do, say, a longer duration binary option in forex, where you can really see how I can change my orders and how but I wanted you to see how these probabilities change, how quickly they move as the underlying moves and as you get closer and closer to expiration. There's still a minute to go here, and they're still giving this a 25% probability. And look at this, in the last few, I mean, these 1 minute candles, the euro's doing nothing. Volatility just died. It's not moving anywhere. I mean, since I started this session, I mean, look at the candles from before. It was moving around, and and my timing on this, we got 4 1 minute candles where it didn't go anywhere right in a row, and that can happen too.